Welcome, everybody, to the High Return Real Estate Show. This is Jeff Schechter, aka Shecky, and I am beyond excitement today because we have got just one of the most amazing guests. It's a woman that I have been watching for a while. We have a lot of really great mutual connections, and she is going to give you a really interesting spin on looking at success. This is a radical departure from what we would normally do on our show, but I feel that it is super important. And for anybody that's looking for success, this is probably one of the most important topics that we will ever talk about. So stay tuned. Welcome to the High Return Real Estate Show, the podcast for heavy hitters. Two men, one mission. It's time to build your empire. Okay, we're back, and this is Shecky at the High Return Real Estate Show, and I have the distinct and wonderful pleasure of introducing an amazing woman named Krisstina Wise, who is a real estate mogul, a millionaire coach. She's run several different businesses, but most importantly, what I really am fond of her for is this website called wealthywealthy.com, and it's spelled kind of uniquely because it talks about wealth and it talks about wellness. And so we are going to dive into some really deep stuff today. Welcome, Kristina.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. So let's just start from the beginning a little bit and tell people a little bit about who you are and how you came to this concept of wealthy.
Well, that was a little bit of a life journey, but my background and most of my career has been in real estate. So I started with Keller Williams way back in the day when nobody knew who Keller was. And I actually mentored underneath Gary Keller and was in his first Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So I was part of the first group that were building teams and running businesses under the business, and was really, I'd say, some of the leading groups that were changing real estate at the time, because before we did real estate teams, it was just real estate agents that were high producers. So Gary really was at the beginning of helping shape us and teach us how to be business people. So I was with Keller for over a decade, then opened up my own brokerage and became known as the real estate disruptor, technologist, was really big, won the Inman Innovation Award back in the day, and lived that lifestyle for a while. It was a lot of fun. And I really just thought my path would be real estate. Was a real estate investor, built my net worth, built that. I could never understand those in real estate, for example, that we sold real estate, but they didn't buy real estate. I thought, isn't that the whole point? Like, why not buy real estate?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started coaching real estate agents and got a little bit more into coaching, I realized like so few people actually do work on their balance sheet. They're just in the income game. And commissions, high commissions, or any high income business, people are just in that, what I call earn, spend, meaning they make high incomes, but they're waiting for that next commission to pay their bills. And so they're always after the chase. And you know, even back then, I would just talk to people and said, you know, why aren't we buying real estate as a profession? And I would really try to get on stages to talk more about that. But interestingly, nobody was wanting to hear it. So when I would talk on stages, it'd all be about lead generation for your business, or it'd be about technology or websites or apps or how to do iPads. So I created a business called The Paperless Agent, which taught real estate agents how to use technology and how to be better marketers and that type of thing. But nobody wanted to talk about the balance sheet and investing in real estate. So I really gave up on that. I guess it just wasn't sexy back then because all the lead gen and tech was what got people's attention.
Yeah.
So that was that. And that was most of my career in real estate. I did a big pivot after getting sick and I got, I'm lucky to be here. So my lifestyle and everything was pretty much unsustainable. I used and abused my body back then for success and money. And that I didn't even know that my body had limitations. And so it wasn't really until my body just put hands up and said, dude, game over. Like, you're abusing us. You're abusing me. So, my big lesson was I got really sick and became very aware, keenly aware, acutely aware that my body is my number one asset. And if I don't take care of my body mentally, emotionally, physically, then I can't make money. Or even if I have money and I have net worth and I have passive income, what's the point if I can't enjoy it because I'm sick in bed? So that just became a big awareness for me that in this chase of the money game, there's two things that are really important. One, when I got sick, what saved my life is that I had assets. I had passive income. I had a good real estate base that had provided nice passive income, cash flow. So that was nice. I could take care of my illness and try to save my life and not really have to worry about the money, which most people aren't in that situation. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't have $250,000 cash, kind of liquid cash, or, liquid assets that I could cash in. And so that was a big awareness. I mean, how many people have that type of money sitting around to save their life? So that was a big awareness of just how important money and cash flow and passive income and asset income is. Because if I was in the chase, the commission to commission chase, so the broker commission to commission chase, again, I wouldn't be here. And then the other part to that was just, again, how important it is to take care of our number one asset, and that it's an investment. Like you're in real estate, you're turnkey real estate. Well, we need our turnkey bodies too. What are we doing to make sure that our bodies are turnkey, that we get up every day, we have energy, we feel alive, we, especially as we age, we have good nutrition, just that our bodies are taken care of. And so I like to ask people, from a financial investment, what type of investment quantifiably are you putting into your body, or to keep it healthy, to keep it safe, to keep it strong? So that was the whole concept and how it came to be. And now I kind of have my feet in both worlds, but I really refer to the experts on the health wealth side, and then I'm my own kind of guru there and how do I take care of myself. And then my personal passion is teaching people money and how to build their balance sheet.
Well, that's awesome. And thank you, by the way, for framing it around the word turnkey, because it really obviously resonated with me, and I'm certain it will resonate with our audience on this show. So it's really amazing. If you don't mind my asking, because I am getting on in years, obviously you can see all the gray hair, and I really am dialing in my health. I've suffered, I don't think I was nearly obviously on deathbed like you were, but I've experienced some pretty significant health challenges in my time. Mm-hmm. And I've had many surgeries, and I've always known that there's this really, really strong connection between nutrition and health. Obviously, probably the nutrition piece in my mind is a much more important piece than the exercise piece. I mean, it's sort of the foundation of everything. And what I have come to learn, and you may disagree with this, in my mind, that there is a lot of unknown problems and poisons and toxins and things like that in our food supply, and many things that generally we regard as healthy that are really not healthy. And much of that has been marketing spins by different industries, the dairy industry, the coffee industry, things like that. So just personally, I'm curious to know, what's your diet like?
Big thing. So nutrition really is foundational, and nutrition means nutrients, and it's what type of nutrients do we get in our food? We think of nutrition, and there's all different types of diets out there that are popular. But at the end of the day, we're looking at our macros and our micros. So macros are our proteins, our carbs, our fats, but our micros are the real minerals and vitamins that we need to get out of our food. And most of us need to supplement today because of our food supply, like our food system. There's just not as many nutrients, especially minerals, that come out of the soil in our food. But at the end of the day, we need lots of nutrients, healthy food, real food that comes, out of the ground, that in meat products, it needs to be, they can't be hormone. You just go to the grocery store, they're filled with hormones, they're filled with antibiotics, they're not sustainably taken care of, and which is just more of a moral thing. But the whole idea when it comes to health, it's all about nutrition. And for me, my diet is more of a paleo-esque diet, which means very rich in vegetables. I stay away from most sugars, even natural sugars like fruit, but very, very organic vegetables, and lots of healthy fats, lots of butters and coconut oils, and good spices, and then some grass-fed or pasture-raised meats and eggs and that type of thing to add in a little bit. But it's just the way to think too is that if we eat out a lot, there's really very little nutritional value in eating out at any restaurant, except maybe some farm to table and some others that are really trying to focus on the quality and nutrition in the food. But otherwise, eating out's entertainment, and eating at home is nutrition. is the way I like to think about it. So I'm just very focused on food. When it comes to exercise, the idea of food's far more important with it than exercise. Exercise, I mean, there's the vanity reasons for exercise. If we want to look a certain way and have our six-pack abs and have our muscle tone or whatever we have, but that's not really necessary. That type of working out is more for, liking how you look. What working out for is exercise is that, especially as we age, we need to keep mobility. So when people age, they get rigid. So working out, like lots of movement, just movement and balance and mobility. So if we do weight workouts, or we do like walking, or just anything that keeps us moving and mobile, and I mean, we can do those things at home, but then weights is for muscle strength. Again, as we age, our muscles break down and we get weaker. So as we age, we want to keep our muscles stronger. Why? Because we'll live longer. Why? Because we won't start breaking down so fast and then have to be in walkers or wheelchairs, or, when you see people some people age really well, they're healthy. I mean, they can be 70 or 80 and be running or vibrant and have muscle tone, and you just see all their vibrancy and energy. And then you can see another 80-year-old and they're bent over and they're barely walking. And it's just because, they've let their age catch up with them. So that's the whole idea behind exercise. It's just really, as we age, once we get over the vanity, or, it's just not important to us. And that's nothing wrong with that either. I like the way I look, so I work out to a certain way to look a certain way also. But it's just the takeaway is that as much exercise isn't required as we may think. As long as we're feeling great, we're moving our bodies, and we're keeping some muscle strength.
Yeah, and I would encourage listeners too to find what's good for you. I mean, for me, I can tell you it's been yoga. I got introduced to yoga about 7 or 8 years ago, and completely changed my life. And it's really, I go, in a good week, I'm in the studio 7 days a week. In a bad week, it's 4 to 5.
Well, yoga is one of the best forms of exercise because it has so many different properties. One, it has a lot of healing properties, and breath work is really important. So it really calms our nervous system. So there's a lot of the psychological effects of yoga and breathing and calming the nervous system in this crazy, wild, fast-paced world we're in. And then strength, as far as holding those downward dogs and all the different planks and everything you do in yoga is so great for strength. And then flexibility and mobility. So yoga is just such a rich form of exercise and movement that, if that's all you do, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah. And for me, it's kind of become a bit of a sanctuary. So, obviously as CEO of our company, I mean, I'm run ragged during the day, and we're running a podcast and doing a bunch of other stuff. And, when I get in the studio and, you try and get there 10 or so minutes early, and I just lay down flat on my mat and I close my eyes, and it's like, this is me time. This is time where I can leave that rest of the world behind and just focus on myself and my breathing and my spiritual connection and all that kind of stuff. So it's become much more for me than just quote unquote a workout. And in fact, I'm tending to dislike some of those heavy, fast vinyasa classes that it becomes somewhat Americanized, let's just say, that feel more like, some of the aerobics classes of my youth. So it's, but I tend to like the real slow, methodical, really take time to get into the poses. And I get just as good of a workout with those, and probably work up more sweat with those than some of the faster ones.
Absolutely. And it's just so good for the body, the brain, the nervous system, great spiritual connection. Like I said, yoga is a beautiful practice.
Yeah. And so I think, one of the greatest things about your message and what you're putting out there, and it resonates so much with me, is we talk all day long with investors. And, you've got this amazing real estate background, and I really appreciate what you said just about, not being on the income train. And there's so much, it's not just within the world of real estate, but there's so much in the world of success and for the sake of success. And it's probably more in America than in other countries, but it's become true all over the world that so much of our health is given up for the sake of the cash. It's like, I can't go work out. I'm too busy. I got to go do this. I can't eat right, whatever. And the reality is unfortunately, it's too big of a trade-off. I mean, you unfortunately found that out the hard way, but most things happen for a reason. And obviously you learned from that. And I'm certainly grateful that you're still here and you were able to turn that around. And the message is just so ridiculously important. And I am inspired by this because I want to start having these conversations. This is why I wanted to have you on the show with investors. So to say just flat out, if you are a real estate investor most of our people are buy and hold people, and that's great. But whatever kind of investing you're doing, you're obviously doing it for the sake of building some sort of legacy, of building some sort of future, of building some sort of passive income. All of those things, equal to some sense of the word freedom. Freedom to be able to live life on your own terms. Now, if you get 10 years from now, 12 years from now, 20 years from now, and you've got this whole pile of rental properties that are producing cash for you, and you're laying there in a hospital bed on, wearing an oxygen mask, what good does that do you? Like there's no freedom there.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So there's different types of freedom, and financial freedom is one type of freedom. And again, I think we share the same definition of financial freedom, but my definition for financial freedom is when the passive income from my assets will replace my working income that pays for the cost of my lifestyle, which gives me the freedom to do whatever I want with my time, because freedom's actually time. So financial freedom is time freedom, meaning when I have the money to pay my bills, I don't have to work with it. I can do whatever I want with my time. So that's just one form of freedom, financial freedom, which is a very important piece, because I know and work with actually a lot of my clients that I end up working with, they make $1 million a year. Maybe, let's say, as income, but they're still in the grind, meaning they have to go to work every single day because their expenses in their business are so high and they're still running it. They've not built their personal balance sheet. So they're tied to the business. They're still in the income grind. So even though they're making a high income, they're making $1 million a year, they're living a nice lifestyle, they're driving great cars, they live in a really nice, beautiful, multi-million-dollar house, they're taking really fancy vacations, their kids are in the private school. There's not freedom, because they're still, even though they're making great money, they're still in the grind. They don't have the freedom to say, I quit. I'm walking away. So income isn't freedom necessarily. It's passive income that is freedom. And I always like to make that distinction because, like I said, I know a lot of rich people, quote unquote, that have no freedom. They don't have the time freedom one way or another. But then there is no freedom when you're sick. You don't have the freedom to do what you want to do. And that's the big thing, is our health is another form of freedom. And that's why it's so important to take care of. And what we don't realize usually with our health and our money, I always say money calls our bluff and health calls our bluff. So we think we can get away with not being healthy. We think we can get away with eating poorly. We think we can get away with maybe drinking too much. We think we can get away with no exercise. We think we can get away with this because there's no signs of this damage that's happening until 20 or 30 years later. The same with our money. We think, we can just spend all our money. We don't need to save. We don't need to invest. We don't need to build a portfolio. And then we reach a certain ripe age of mid 40s to mid 50s and realize, like, holy shit, I don't want to work so hard, and I'm really tired because I haven't been taking care of myself. And now what do I do? And that retirement word is really approaching really fast right now. I don't have anything. And, so this fear takes over. So there's going to be a certain stage and age where money and health calls our bluff if we haven't been taking care of both, meaning we haven't been investing to build our portfolio, our balance sheet, and we haven't been investing in our body and take care of our body, because what happens is we age prematurely, one, but two, disease starts to happen. And it's really hard to reverse disease once we get to a disease state of being sick. And that's what's happening when we're not taking care of our body. We're slowly but surely becoming diseased as our cells break down, as our mitochondria break down, as everything starts. We don't have the nutrition, so we eat too much sugar. So disease like diabetes can start cancers. There's all these autoimmune diseases. So these diseases, slowly but surely, they take a decade or 2 decades. And then once we get there, we spend our time and money then trying to get rid of the disease. So we spend all this time and money to make our money, not taking care of our body. Then we spend all that same time and money that we spent so hard to earn to try to get our health back. So yeah, we can't trade our health for wealth. And it's part of the joy of living in a way, is learning how, like, not learning how, but it's the awareness, the realization of our life is multifaceted. So we have to get good at taking care of all these things at the same time. There's no space to sacrifice one for the other. Now, it doesn't mean perfectly balanced. So I don't like the word balanced, but it means we have our health we have to take care of, like it or not. You know, we have to eat good food. We need to move our bodies, and we need some spiritual practices, and we need to, you know, probably meditate or do yoga because life is so stressful. We need to have time and space. So we have to take care of our stress and that type of thing. We have to take care of our bodies. We need to take care of our families. We need to take care of our money. You know, there's these different concerns that are part of living life, and we can't sacrifice our family. I mean, we can, but if we want a close relationship with our spouse and our children, we can't sacrifice all that for money. We can't sacrifice our health for money. We can't sacrifice. And it's just a matter of what is a good life? What is a good life that for me? And so what I like to do even in the money and financial work that I do with people is, the first thing is we start from where we are today, and we look at this linear thing of where we're going to potentially get to in the future. And we're just kind of sleepwalking and doing what we do on a day-to-day basis, 98% habitualized. We're not paying attention. We're not aware. We don't know what we're taking care of. We don't know how our health is. We don't know how our money is. We kind of feel maybe we're doing okay, or maybe we're not doing okay. But ultimately, we're just in this habitualized life. We're not paying attention to anything really well. So what I like to say is that, you know, what we do is we want to start, you know, we've heard this before, not necessarily start with the end in mind, but we need to look and ask the question, what is a good life and how much is enough? It's a deep philosophical question. And when we can start there, what it can do is can replace the answer more. Because when you ask people, do you have enough money? They say no. Well, how much is enough? I don't know, but more than I have. Do you have enough of it? Like, so we live in this culture is do more, be more, have more, do more, be more, have more, 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 more. And that's all we are, is in this quest of more. And my question is how do you know when enough is enough? And most people don't know that answer. They've not done the work. And so when we can reach out and say, what is my definition of good life? Who's in it? What am I doing? And how much does it cost? Because we can quantify that. Then what many times, and what I like to say is, if you don't have a mortgage and you don't have a car payment, any car payments, and you don't have any credit card payments, so you're mostly debt-free, factor in how much will it cost you to live your life, your desired life, on a monthly basis. And for the most part, living life is pretty affordable in most cases, outside, you know, maybe some very expensive cities or something. But when you take out the rent or mortgage and take out any debt, it doesn't cost a lot to live. You know, I mean, if you want to vacation every single day, but most people don't. So we can look at and realize that we can quantify how much it costs to live a good life. Then we can start working towards that in our earnings, how much is a good amount of earning for me that I'm capable of earning, and my goal for my earnings is going to allow me to pay for my lifestyle, my working income that allow me to pay for my lifestyle that's good today, plus the addition on top that I can invest to pay for my good life tomorrow that I'll invest. And then I'm working always to get towards that income, and just being in the melody or the methodical nature of that's a lifestyle. It's my financial lifestyle. So I'm building towards that good enough number that's very quantified. There's probably less than one will think it is, as long as they don't have debt and they don't, you know, live a lifestyle they can't afford. And realize that life can be a lot simpler and a lot more enjoyable and a lot more free and a lot more meaningful and a lot more connected and a lot more loving and a lot more just beautiful and centered and enjoyable when we just do a little bit of philosophical work, get a very easy calculator, and know why we're living and what we're living for, how much is enough. And then we live in the journey and the process of it, and just get out of this crazy rat race of more and keep up with everybody else and this external validation and not having enough and not being satisfied. And it's like, it's exhausting. People are just running around like crazy, stressed out people, and they just don't even know, why they're doing it. And so I just really, invite people to, let's stop the madness. Let's get centered. Let's create more white space. Get some coaches. Let's settle down. Let's do some numbers. Let's do some sketching out of our own good life. And then let's just be in the joy of creating and manifesting the vision of our lives that we think is good. And it simplifies it. So that's my work. And it's pretty easy once we decide to do it. The hard thing about all of this is that everybody's so busy. And there's just not space. And the only way to change our lives, if we're dissatisfied or stressed out, or we don't feel like we have enough money, or we're not making enough, we don't have enough, or our health isn't great, or our marriage isn't great, whatever it is that's unsatisfactory, the only way to improve that is we have to step out of it. Staying in it and hoping things are going to change I mean, we know that life doesn't work that way. So what that means is we have to step out of it. We have to step out and we have to look at our life. We need to take inventory of what's working and not working, what's good and what's not so good, and create that white space and go do some work on our lives. But we have to step out of our lives, the way to do that. And so, I do workshops that help people do that. I know you do coaching, and I always say maybe hire a life coach or something of that nature, a money coach or an investment coach, or some type of coaches that I think that are so valuable today, that can help us get our life back, get our awareness back, get our joy back, get our connectivity back, and help us focus on the things that are more important again, and just get out of the rat race.
Well, you said a lot there. I didn't even want to interrupt because you were on such a great roll there, and I just love what you just said. And it's a few things. One is, yes, I'm in full agreement with coaches. I think that, for myself too, I find that it is difficult, even as a guy like myself, who I feel like I'm pretty self-aware. I sometimes can get in my own way. It's just part of the human condition. And, having somebody else to help you and guide you and all that is important. One of the asterisks that I wanted to put on what you said was more about really sort of looking at how you feel about things. Because, one of the things that I've learned as I've gotten older is that I'm an extremely logical person. And having been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life, I always, you always look at bottom line and, this makes sense and, blah, 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 blah. But our business, Jack and myself, for the most part, even though we both are pretty logical creatures, I have really shifted more towards operating our business based on feeling, what feels right. And it's like, do we want to do this? And I've even said to Jack, it kind of feels icky. And I use the word icky, and it's like, it's just not, there's something about it that's not resonating with me. So we're not going to do it, even if the numbers make sense. And same way with some of the investments, same way with taking on certain clients, same way with releasing other clients, things like that. Not to say that we necessarily take on or fire clients all the time. It's a very, very rare situation. But it's important, like you say, to use your words, white space, to create some time to breathe, to be able to allow this. And I agree with you. So many people are on autopilot.
Hi, this is Nicole, your friendly investor relations concierge here at High Return Real Estate. This week's home run is a sweet little duplex on Nimitz Street. This property shined up nicely after some utility upgrades, roofing, and a whole lot of TLC. As with all our properties, it's fully tenanted, inspected, and warranted. And it's already earning an attractive 13% ROI. If you'd like me to send you the full investor packet with all property documentation, just send me an email. It's homerun@highreturnrealestate.com. That's homerun@highreturnrealestate.com. Talk to you soon.
I want to re-ask a question way back based on the nutrition concept, because when you were talking about the two people at 80 or so years old, and the one looks good and the one looks terrible, one of the things that ran through my mind was, yeah, but, genetic predisposition. And I hear so many people saying that, well, I have this in my family. I have diabetes in my family. I have that in my family. And honestly, from the studies and what I've learned and what I've learned about myself, I'm on the edge of saying it's complete bullshit. Because, and I'm not saying there isn't such a thing as genetic predisposition to certain things, like, we have a familial history of certain things, but the way that you take care of yourself can create a completely different gene expression based on the way that you are taking care of yourself. These are some of the things that we're finding out now medically recently over the last 3, 4, 5 years. This is not old information. This is new information. But I want to tell anybody listening to this, if you are completely resting on this, like, well, I'm just genetically predisposed to this, what I am going to challenge you with and suggest is that you are not taking responsibility for your own health. That's a cop-out. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, Kristina. I'm a little bit passionate about this subject, but that's just how I feel, and I'm pretty strong about the way I feel, and I've proven it in my own life. So how would you comment on that?
Absolutely. The science backs that completely. So, yeah, whatever genetic predispositions there are, but how we treat our bodies really means our genes will take on the characteristics of that disposition if we don't take care of ourselves, meaning if there's diabetes in our family, even though diabetes too is mostly just sugar related, but yeah, so if we do have a disposition, we might want to pay attention to that, like breast cancer, something like that, of that nature, meaning it could be more likely we could get it, but it's going to be far less likely that maybe down to almost nothing if we take care of our bodies and we're very healthy, and then our genes, they rewire themselves basically, and our cells and healthy cells. So what happens, it's all at a cellular level, and our healthy cells don't turn into cancer cells. So the likelihood of that is very slim. But if we have a predisposition, our same cells that aren't taken care of then can naturally fall into that historical pattern. But it's scientifically proven. There's a name for it. The word is escaping me right now, but you're absolutely right.
Is it epigenetics?
Epigenetics, yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. So
yes.
I'm looking at the clock and we're going to run out of time. So I want to ask you my favorite question, and that is this. What is the question that I didn't ask you that I should be asking you?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. I mean, I don't know if there's a question really. When I go back to Wealthy, which is my brand, it is the idea of, in my opinion, based on my own life experience, we have to be building wealth. And what wealth is wealth is on our balance sheet with the idea that we hit our freedom number, and we hit this place of financial freedom when the cash flow from our balance sheet and our assets can replace our working income, assuming that's enough to cover the cost of living our good life. And then wealthy is that while we're doing that, part of the life experience is to understand that it's not just all about the chase. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the possessions. It's not all about this external validation of what other people think and how we measure up. The personal human experience, our personal experience, is all about love. And science is showing now that love is medicine. And I love when you said that you really work on feeling. And I would trust you over somebody that just has lots of spreadsheets. And so, hearing you say that, I'm like, yes, that's the person I want to put my money with, is someone that's really in touch with their feelings and their gut and their intuition and their logical and rational and reasonable and understand the calculator and how the numbers work as well. It's just a perfect blend. But we're so out of touch. And so much of the science now is showing also when it comes to disease, for example, it's not just taking care of our bodies in a healthy way, but it's starting to show how we love ourselves and how we love others. So how much love we feel, that love truly is medicine. And when we have less stressful energy and more love energy, and we can work at these kind of higher vibrations, if you will. Not to get too woo-woo. I'm kind of this blend of woo-woo and pragmatic.
I'm right there with you.
Right. So,
yeah, I'm right there with you.
So, and I can go to either side pretty quickly, but it's just this really, again, kind of getting underneath this and realizing, like, why am I here? What is my purpose? How much do I love? How much love do I have in my life? Where am I missing love by being so stressed out all the time, caring about things that are nonsense? And just getting back to what really matters and what's meaningful. And that's part of the wealth, the WELLTH. The wealth is love. The wealth is energy. The wealth is vibrancy. The wealth is vibration. The wealth is laughter. The wealth is, being strong and having a healthy body. The wealth is energy. At the end of the day, money's energy and our health is energy. So it's just getting back to living and asking some philosophical questions and just making sure we're living the life we want to live, and have methods and practices and coaches and whatever we need to help us, get to the proverbial there. Not that there's not a there out there, but to get to a future dream that we're after, hopefully as quickly as possible. And then once we reach this place of self-actualization and a place of, let's say, wow, I've reached the place in my life that I spent most of my life working towards, then this becomes what I call this threshold, a place where we can start giving back, and then we can become some of the legacy. There's an eldership to it in a way, not as an age elder, but an elder, like we've learned through life experience. We've shaped our lives, we've grown, we've learned from our mistakes, and we still reach the place that we were striving to reach, and we became the person that we were wanting to become. Not that that ever stops. And then it becomes really fun to become kind of this stage of life where it's helping others to be able to do something similar and hopefully make far fewer mistakes, or at least make different ones. And to me, that's really the journey of life, and the beauty of life is when it's this true give and take, and this true just getting in the place of where we can all connect and build new friendships and relationships. And I don't know, that's what makes life sweet. I'd much rather have this conversation with you and connect with you and build a friendship and potentially do business together if it works out than, just getting my next checklist item done, that might make me a little bit more money at the end of the day. But money is important, and health is important, and it's all so we can live a good life.
So unbelievably inspiring. I'm just a little choked up listening to you. It's fabulous. When I'm down your way, I want to come see you and give you a big hug.
Absolutely. You better come see me when you're in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be there soon. So, look, I want to thank you so much for taking your time I know your day is super busy, and taking time out of your day to come on our show. And I know that our listeners are just going to get a ton out of this episode. I know that I did. And so I'm very, very grateful. And I just want to make sure, we'll put a link in the show notes. It's wealthy.com. The first wealthy is spelled normally, WEALTHY, followed by WELLTHY. It's all one word, wealthy.com. That's how you find out about Krisstina and all the fantastic shit that she is up to. It is really awesome. And I just want to say also thank you on a higher level for being the kind of entrepreneur that I aspire to be.
Well, thank you. And I have a free copy of my book, a digital download for your listeners, if they go to fallingformoney.com.
Okay.
And they can just, get the digital download. It's a great book.
Fallingformoney.com.
Yep.
Good. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
Sounds great. Well, thank you. This has been a really fun conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.